Welcome back, pre-algebra students. We're in lesson 10. We're going to talk about divisibility today. The capability of a whole number to be divided by another whole number with no remainder is called divisibility. So let me give you an example of divisibility. If I have the number 16 and I divide that by 2, so 16 is my dividend, 2 is my divisor, I can divide that by 2 equally and get 8. 8 times 2 is 16, and I have no remainder left. 16 has divisibility by 2. Okay. It also works because we know that factors can take any place, and that the factors of 16 are the divisor and the quotient. We know that if we had 8 here, we would have 2 here. And because there's no whole number, 16 is divisible by 2, and it's also divisible by 8. So let me put the rules of divisibility up here for you. All right, so the rules of divisibility, here we go. A whole number is divisible by 2 if the last digit is 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So basically, if it's an even number, it is divisible by 2. So for instance, if I had the number 26, I could divide that by 2 and get, let's see, 13. So 2 times 13 is 26. All right. A whole number is divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. So let's say, for instance, 54, right? That's an even number. We wouldn't think that that would be divisible by 3, but if you add 5 plus 4, you get 9, and we know that 9 is divisible by 3. So therefore, 54 is divisible by 3. So let's try it out. We got 54 divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 once. Subtract 3, we get 24. 3 goes into 24 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. So yes, no remainder. So 54 is divisible by 3. So all you have to do is add the 2 or 3 or 4, how many digits it is together. And if the sum of those digits is divisible by 3, then that number is divisible by 3. All right, so C, a whole number is divisible by 5 if the last digit is 0 or 5. And we know that because 5, anything that ends in 5 is divisible by 5. And if you were to add 5 to it, that'd be 10. And we know 10 is divisible by 5 because it has 2 5s in it. So if it's a 5 or 0, it is divisible by 5. And lastly, a whole number is divisible by 10 if the last digit is 0. And we know that because of the power of 10. I could take 2 times 10, and that would give me 20. I could say 2 times 100, that would give me 200. We know it's divisible by 10 because 10 times 10 is 100, right? So we can divide that by 10, and we get 20. So those are the rules of divisibility. You are going to need to put those in your notebook. You don't have to put it on the back unless you want to have it for handy reference. So might not be a bad idea to put that on the back of your notebook, but it's not mandatory. So let's look at some example problems. Let me clear this. So 10.1. We are asked which of the following numbers are divisible by 3. And here's our 3 numbers. We have this one, and then we have this one, and then we have C, this one. So the trick to finding out if it is divisible by 3 is to add the 2 numbers together. So for A, 9 plus 9 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. So 9 we know is divisible by 3, right? B, we would say 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 9. So that would be 6 plus 9 equals 15. 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. We know 6 is divisible by 3. The answer is 2. And for C, 1 plus 5 plus 6 plus 1 is equal to, that's 6, that's 12, that's 13. 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. 4 is not divisible by 3, so this one is not divisible by 3, but these are. All right, let's look at example problem 10.2. And this question is asking us, which of the following numbers are divisible by A, 2, B, 5, and C, 10. So let's look at the numbers that were given. We have 4, 32, 75, 99, 4,165, and 4,020. All right, so here's how I want you to answer these when we have these on an exam or a quiz, any paperwork that you have to do. What I want you to do is put a box or a square or a check mark or some type of symbol around each one of the numbers or by each one of the numbers. So I'm going to put a box around the 2, right? And so everything that is divisible by 2, I'm going to put a box around it. So 4 is divisible by 2. 32 is divisible by 2. This is not divisible by 2. This is not divisible by 2. This is not divisible by 2. But this is. So I'm going to put a box around that. So now for B, is it divisible by 5? I'm going to circle that one. So now if this is divisible by 5 and it is not, I would circle it. This one is not divisible by 5 because remember it has to end in either a 5 or a 0. This one is, so I would circle it. This one is not divisible by 5. This one is divisible by 5. I'm going to circle it. And this one is divisible by 5 also. So I'm going to circle it around the outside of the box. So that tells me that it is divisible by 2 and by 5. All right, so now I am going to ask myself, is it divisible by 10? And so for this one, I think what I'm going to do is put a check mark next to it. Is this divisible by 10? No. Is this one divisible by 10? No. 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 Why? Because it has to end in 0, right? This one is divisible by 10. So I'm just going to put a check mark next to that. So what you need to do is figure out your 3 symbols: check mark, circle, square. If you didn't want to do a check mark, you could do a triangle. That'd be fine. But figure out some type of way to identify whether or not it is divisible by that number. If you wanted to, another way you could do that is to write the letter that's next to each one. So you could have written A under here, an A under here, and an A under here. You could have written B under here, and comma, B under here. And then you would have written comma, C under there. So any of those methods would work, either circling them and so I can match it up like this is a key, or writing the letter that it is divisible by that matches the key up here. Either one of those is fine. But when you only have one number, it's asking you is it divisible by 3, then you can just cross out the ones that are not divisible by 3. And guess what? That is all we have for lesson 10, and I will see you in lesson 11.